I'm Brian Branton. I recently purchased Cedar Grove, a beautiful historic home in South Carolina that was built in the late 1700s. I'm inviting Homeworthy to come along with me over the next few months, maybe years, I hope not years, as I restore parts of this home to its original glory that hasn't been touched in years. She needs a lot of work to make her shine again, but it will be so much fun. I hope you will join me as I document this amazing journey.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Before today's episode, click the join button below to support all of the storytelling we do on this channel. Our growing community of members help to directly fund more videos so we can capture these extraordinary homes from around the world. So join today to receive early and exclusive access to new Homeworthy videos.
Hey Homeworthy, welcome to my 18th century house in Alexandria, Virginia. I'm just kidding with you. I actually sold that house and bought this house behind me on a complete impulse purchase. This is my 1790 house in Edgefield, South Carolina. The house is known as Cedar Grove. It was named after the cedar trees that were planted on here from the Prussian immigrant that built the house, John Blocker. The house has amazing details, but it also needs a ton of work, of which I am just now starting. I don't know if you can tell, but I have a Leaning Tower of Pisa portico behind me, so that whole portico has to be removed and rebuilt, but it's all the original detailing, so it's important that I save all that while we still make it structurally sound. The other interesting things, if you see right here, my boxwood are in dire need of some help. Interestingly enough, the original boxwood that were here were purchased by Colonial Williamsburg in 1930, and they're actually displayed now at the Governor's Palace. So if I want to go see my Cedar Grove boxwood, I just can go look at them at the Governor's Palace there. But come on in, let me show you everything. And I will also show you everything wrong with the place so you can see what I have to do. One of the first things that I'm doing is really focusing on the exterior of the house. It has aluminum siding, that cheap aluminum siding that was put on in the 1980s. Luckily, the original clapboard's still underneath it, so I have to remove this siding, restore the clapboard, have it repainted. The windows were also taken out, and this vinyl window was put in the 80s, so I have to take those out. Luckily, the owners thought to save the original windows. They've stored them underneath the house and they're in good condition. They need to be restored, but I'm going to put those back in. And then of course you can see from my fallen down shutters that I need a whole lot of shutters as well. I have very few original shutters, or at least old shutters. So I'm going to have a bunch made. And I think there was something like 40 windows that I'm dealing with, so it's going to be a heck of a lot of shutters. All my budget's going to the exterior right now, but come on in, I want to show you everything. Watch out for the non-existing bricks, one of the things to fix. Cedar Grove is on the National Register of Historic Places, so I'm excited about that, and it really does have an amazing history that I'll tell you all about. All right, so now you're getting to see the fun part. This is the whole inside of Cedar Grove, starting with what I think is one of the most special places. It's the Great Hallway. And the reason I call it the Great Hallway is it's huge in size. It's 12 feet wide, it's 40 feet long. This is very common in southern homes like this because you get this cross breeze. You can open up those doors, you can open up the front doors, and really get a breeze going through. That's one reason you also don't see a staircase here, because the staircase would block the flow. The staircase is kind of tucked away to the side. Now, granted, I would have loved a grand staircase. I could have had my whole huge moment, but you know, I can live with this to get this big hallway. Another thing that cracks me up about this hallway, just to give you a sense of the size of it, is this was the rug that was in my dining room. I had this rug in my bedroom, and then the rug right here was room. So what was 3 rooms in my house in Old Town is now just taking up the hallway of this house at Cedar Grove. So I need to buy a whole lot more rugs because I've used them all pretty much right here. You will see that when we start walking around. Pretty much all of the furniture that I had at Brockett's Row, at least about 90% of it, has made its way down here. Although I've had to go on a little bit of a shopping spree and buy a ton of furniture that really kind of just fills out the grand spaces, including this break front. It's the very first piece that I bought once I signed the contract on Cedar Grove. And I jokingly say that, I say I signed the contract. I had signed it. I don't think the seller had signed it. So this was a very optimistic purchase of me that this was going to go through. But it did, and it's worked out. And I love this piece of furniture. I haven't unpacked. I've hardly unpacked anything. So eventually my china will be displayed in here. But I've only got a little bit of it out right now because I have no clue where the rest of it is. And you'll just get a sense from looking at the dining room of how much stuff I have left unpacked. And this is just a fraction of it. There are certain rooms you can barely walk in that you will see because there are so many boxes. But I did want to lay this room out as much as I possibly could because it's the first thing you see. I have it laid out with the way I'm really going to display the furniture. The big change that I'm going to make here is really in the paint color. Oh, and which reminds me, because one of the great things about this house, I told you it has an interesting history. The history of this house is it was built by a man named John Blocker in 1790. He sold it in 1825 to a man named John Bones. The interesting thing about that is it then stayed in that family through marriage until 1973, when the last remaining descendant of that family passed away, and then it sold out of the family. So from 1825 to 1973, this was in the same family's hands. So very little alteration to it has occurred. And if you just look right here at the peeling paint on my wall, this house has so little paint layers to it. Most of the times when you have a house that's 200 plus years old, it's just caked with paint after paint after paint from all the owners. But not this one. It has so little paint, I almost feel guilty that I'm going to add a paint layer to it, but I definitely will. I don't know if you can also tell, but all of this is wood. This is wood planks. It's wood planks on the wall. It's wood planks on the ceiling. It's wood planks on the floor. This whole entire house is made of wood, so don't bring any matches in here. I want to make sure I can keep this one for a long time. The other interesting thing about this room that's so unusual for this part of South Carolina, so much of the high style that you see in South Carolina is along in the low country, along the coast in Charleston. You don't see it as much here in the upwards part of South Carolina. But we have this barrel vaulted ceiling, which is it's just an unusual feature. I absolutely love it. And that feature is mimicked in the kitchen that I will show you later. I think that's a little nice detail. But let me show you the part about this house that really sold me on it, because as I said outside, this was a complete impulse purchase. And by impulse, I mean, I was looking at real estate online, as I always do when I eat lunch at my desk, and I saw this house online and immediately became obsessed with it. I mean, immediately. And I said the same thing about Brockett's Row. It's exactly how I found Brockett's Row. But this was in November, right before you guys came and visited me to see my Christmas decor. So I was cheating on Brockett's Row then. I feel guilty for saying that, but I totally was. So I had seen this house online, obsessed over it for a few weeks, and then decided, you know what, during the Christmas break, I'm not working. why don't I just drive down to Edgefield, South Carolina, just to see the house, just to see what it's like. And the moment I drove up the driveway, because there's a driveway that comes up the back, and you see those Cedar Grove trees that the house was named for, and it wraps around, and you get this expansive view of the back of the house. And quite honestly, the back of the house, I like that view even more than the front. I just immediately fell in love. And then once I walked in and saw this hallway and then saw the room I'm about to take you in to see, I just could not stop thinking about it. So let me show you that. All right, so this is the room that really sold me on this house. Now, I affectionately call it the wallpaper room, and that's going to be very obvious to you because this wallpaper, it's hand-painted French wallpaper that was installed in this house when it was first built in 1790. So it's been here for over 200 years. It just kills me that this wallpaper has managed to stay for this long. Now, according to local legend, whether you believe this or not, I choose to believe it, even though I don't really think it's true. The local legend is that the Blocker family were friends with Napoleon, and Napoleon gifted this to them when they built the house as a wedding present. And the wallpaper tells the story of a young couple who meet, fall in love, and get married. I have walked around this wallpaper now in the few weeks I've lived in here to really kind of detail that story. I don't really see it. I mean, yeah, you see a man meeting a woman there, so I guess that's the meeting of the story, and then over here, he kind of leaves the woman and goes on his travel. And then, anyway, I'm going to make up my own story about how they met and how they fell in love because I don't really see an obvious wedding, but I believe the story. Oh, speaking of which, I've laid out this room pretty much how I'm going to decorate it. I just haven't added in all those details I've done. But I did add in this detail. I love my bronze sculptures, particularly my bronze dogs. So I decided, oh, I should have my bronze dogs tell a story as well. So here's the beginning of my story. It's the bronze dog. And then I will follow you. I will show you over here. There's my bronze pheasant. And then completing the story is the bronze dog eating the pheasant. So it's my own little story that I like to tell to go along with the wallpaper. This room I'm not really going to touch because why would you touch perfection with this wallpaper? I am going to tone down the white of the paint just to soften a little bit, but beyond that, no, that's about it. And I have to really, just to protect the wallpaper, I'm going to add in some wooden blinds like I had in my home in Old Town, just so the sunlight's not sitting directly on it. But this is the north side of the house, so it's pretty protected from that point. And then I don't know if you can tell, you probably can, this wallpaper has tons of water damage to it, water stains. You can find, and I have, luckily the previous owners have really kept a good archive of historic photos and documents from the house, and they pass it along to the previous owners. But you can see in old photos from the late 1800s that this water damage even existed then. The story that they have told is, one of the cleaning people were upstairs above this room, which is a bedroom, and she threw out buckets of water to mop the floor. But again, since it's wood, all that water seeped through and came down on the wall, and you can see how it stained really all corners of it. The only place that you don't see that water damage is on this wall right here behind me, and that's because this is the one wall that has been restored. Now, a previous owner in the 90s, because I see their quote, they actually reached out to a conservationist to see how much it would cost to restore the entire wall. And in the 1990s, they were quoted, I think the price was $60,000. So let me just say I'm very nervous about what the price to conserve this wallpaper will be. But I am definitely going to work on restoring it to make sure that it lasts another 200 years, or at the very least, it needs to be stabilized. But I just absolutely love it. I bought the house to save the wallpaper more than anything. Really, but it's a beautiful room. I love spending time in here. Okay, so welcome to the dining room, or as I affectionately call it, the most expensive storage room that I've ever had. So right now, this is the room where I've had all the movers. If I didn't know where the boxes went, I'm like, just start in the dining room. And as you see, I have barely unpacked anything. And there's another room where there are so many boxes I can't even get the furniture out. But this room is an exact mirror of the wallpaper room in size. And it's also an exact mirror really in the detailing. I don't know if, I didn't really point out the mantle in the wallpaper room. I should have done that. That's my bad. But I'll show you this mantle because these mantles are so cool. Just get a sense of the size of this. I'm 5'9", and this is almost as tall as me. And I know 5'9" is super tall. So I'm a super tall person. So this is a super tall mantle. But this is just all hand carved. I absolutely love the detailing of this. And it has very similar detailing in the wallpaper room. And the thing I love about it, and the reason you can really tell it's hand carved, is like this round rosette is a different size than the one on the right. It's just, you can really kind of see those flaws, which normally the OCD in me, that would drive me crazy. But the fact that that makes it hand carved, I absolutely love it. All these fireplaces, by the way, well, the ones on that side of the house have been converted to gas, but they work. These are still wood burning and will very much be used. All in total, I think there are like 10 fireplaces in this house. So I've also had to buy tons of new andirons to accommodate all this. And I think I've only gotten andirons for 4 fireplaces at this point. So I've got a lot of, and I have a lot of rug purchases and andiron purchases that I need to do in this house. The rooms are so tall that I thought this was a great place. I love portraiture, and I had a lot displayed at my house in Old Town. So I have taken all that portraiture and placed it here. Now, these are not my relatives, but I have adopted all of them. And I like to buy portraits where I actually, you know who the people are, so you can read their history and learn who they are. This is Reverend Pollock from Richmond, Virginia. That's Aunt Polly. She is from all over like Boston, but she also lived in Paris. He was a Georgian planter. That's the Stern lady, I always called her. I brought the Stern lady down here to see if I could make her happier. It hasn't changed her appearance yet, but I think she likes it. When this room is laid out and it's free of its boxes, what you will see, and this is the dining room table I had at Brockett's Row. It doesn't really, actually it fits the space here well, but I bought new chair, by new I mean new old chairs, to go in this house, and they don't fit the table. Like you literally cannot squeeze the chair underneath the table. So I have to get a new like 3 pedestal where the chairs will fit under. And I'm going to use this table because it comes apart in 3 parts to incorporate in the side. So the end pieces of this will go underneath the windows there, and then this middle part will fold down and I will put over here in the hallway. So the old part of my dining room will still be used here. The large Girandol mirror that I had in my previous tour, the one that hung in the summer White House, that will go right here. I just haven't been able to move it down yet because I was too nervous about having the movers take it. It was so delicate, and I just didn't want it to break that I thought I will bring it down myself. But I just haven't had a time to pack it up in my station wagon and drive it down. But I will do that. I bought another mirror that was a auction purchase that actually did break in the move. So that's why it's sitting on here, and I've got to do a little bit of repair work to it before I can kind of get it hung up there. Again, I'm going to paint this room. I'm going to go with a green. So these curtains, I don't know when these curtains were put up, but they seem pretty old because they're a little frayed. So I will be changing that out. But other than that, you really can kind of see the bones. As I say, I'm not changing the bones of anything about this house. I'm just going to put my own little stamp on it with color. You know me, I've talked before that it's not that I love to paint, it's I'm too cheap to pay people to paint. So I do tend to do all of the interior painting myself. Now, I'm a little hypocritical because I did actually hire somebody to start painting the kitchen for me. I will show you that because I just don't like painting kitchen cabinets. And this one I also need to paint the ceiling. And so I have paid somebody to do that for me. And they've started the process. And they were supposed to be painting here today, but they asked if they could wait and come next weekend to finish it up. So you will see that as a process and work. But I am going to paint the rest of it. This one will be easy to paint because there's not much prep work that will need to be done. The hallway is going to take a lot of prep work because that paint is all peeling. But again, as I said, the fact that this has so little paint on it just amazes me. I feel a little guilty that I'm going to paint this, but I am. So I have to make it my own. So I will definitely do that. But I'm going to paint this green. This will definitely be a creamy white trim, and then I will do a different color for the ceiling that will be another variation of a creamy white, just to differentiate a little bit. My point is I want to really highlight these architectural features and make them pop, while also bringing in a little bit of color, because all the walls right now are white. And actually my color palette that I'm doing, I can share with you my color board. I'm basing it all on the wallpaper across the way. That's my inspiration. So I'm making every color kind of flow from that wallpaper so it ties in, and then the whole house will kind of flow together based on the colors in that wallpaper, which I think will be very pretty. So at least I will enjoy it. All right, so this is the den. Let me show you this part. It's going to be probably the room I spend the vast majority of my time. So I've set it up as a little family room. I'm not quite sure, and I'm still trying to figure this out, as what this room would have been used for. For me, interesting architectural feature is there used to be a back staircase. You can see up at the top where that staircase was. And my gut feeling is that the door from the hallway would have been right there, because it would have been exactly opposite the door into the back bedroom downstairs. And then you would have entered in there and the stairway would have gone up. But I don't know. I'm not an architectural historian. That's just my guess. So take it or leave it. A lot of this you may recognize from Brockett's Row, and I pointed out before that I have this weird obsession with morning art. I find it creepy and fun, and now I've been able to group all my morning art together. So, it's nothing but death on this wall, and I just bought one that was delivered yesterday, so it's going to be my newest piece of morning art from the Phillips family, where this person died in 1820, it says. So I will hang that up above the door and start to complete my little collection. Of course, Christmas is never far from my mind. And as I was in the process of buying this house, I was thinking of what Christmas would look like. And as you can imagine, it's going to be pretty grand in here. But more importantly, what would my Christmas party look like? And sorry for the noise. I'm putting in security cameras in this house right now, and so you hear some drilling going on. And interestingly enough, those security cameras, sure, it's to keep the place protected, but it's more importantly, it's for me to be able to log onto the app and look at the cameras and just daydream about being back at Cedar Grove when I'm not here. So I'm going to do that all the time, I'm sure. But going back to Christmas party, this room right here, this little closet, is going to make the perfect bar. So it's so tall, it goes up all this way. I'm going to zhuzh this up a little bit and put all my liquor and all of that. As you can see, I've already kind of got the stemware going to really kind of complete the bar. And I had my first house guest over last weekend. They were neighbors. As a matter of fact, they own the Blocker house, the parents of the people that built this house. So I had them over and we had cocktails on the porch. Let me take you upstairs and show you what is going on there, which let me tell you, there's a lot going on. This staircase to me is so interesting because it's really kind of an afterthought. As I said, they tucked it away so you would have this cross ventilation. Interestingly enough, the people that sold it to had literally put this runner in right before I did it. I'm not going to keep it because I don't think it fits the character of the house. I already have the runner picked out that I'm going to do it. It's going to be very similar to what I had before from Woodard Weave. I love them. But come on up. This hallway is just as large as the one downstairs. It doesn't feel as grand because the ceilings aren't as tall, and you definitely don't have the barrel vaulted. The other thing is, to modernize the house, previous owners put in a laundry room right here and a closet. Now I'm going to take that out and move it because I want this to be one grand hallway again. And the way I really kind of envisioning the space is once this is gone and you have this 12 feet wide, I'm going to make this like an upstairs living room. So really kind of fill it with seating. So when I have guests here, they can come and they can hang out. And then let me show you quickly, although we're not really going to walk on it, but because I don't want to kill you. So this is the upstairs porch of the portico. Now, as I say, I've got to rebuild this whole thing. So I'm not really going out far. But once it's rebuilt, it's going to be safe as all. And I have bought some Windsor chairs that I'm going to keep right here in the hallway so I can pull them out and sit and watch the sunrise. This faces east here. So it'll be a really pretty place to sit and have coffee and watch the sunrise between all of this. But I love a portico. This is, again, all the original detailing. It just kills me that this portico has been standing since 1790. That's probably why it's tilted right now. So come back in. All right, so another interesting thing that I thought was really cool is this saw was left in this hallway, and I always kind of wonder what it was. I was about to take it down. I am going to take it down. I'm going to move it though. But the previous owner had said, "Oh, that saw is original to Cedar Grove. It's been in the property for Lord knows how long. So I think it's really cool that it's been here all the time. And I guess they used it to cut down trees that were on the property. This is a lot of timber comes from this part of the world too, and peaches and timber. Coming to what I'm going to make my bedroom. So let me show it to you. Okay, so here's what I'm going to make my bedroom. It is one of the grandest of the rooms because it's the same size that you have downstairs. We're directly above the dining room. As you can see, it's the same glorious mantles that you have downstairs, just not quite as tall. I feel way taller next to this one. So it's really kind of a perfect, not a square, but a perfect rectangle. I don't even know why I'm saying that because I don't think rectangles are perfect. But I just love the dimensions of this room. I have not been able to sleep in this room because I can't find the bolts to put the bed together. There's somewhere probably either in that dining room or what's going to be in my library buried away in a box. So at some point I will find it. But the great thing about this bed is actually a South Carolina bed. So it's made its way back down here to find a home. I'm going to do a little bit of work in here in that this closet was added. I'm going to take it out because to me it messes up the dimensions of the room. And you can see a little bump out there. That's from when they added kind of the bathroom along with that laundry room. I'm going to change that. I'm going to make it, again, a perfect rectangle. And then the bedroom that's behind this room, I'm going to turn that into a bathroom and closet. So it will kind of hide all that stuff that you see right now in the hallway, and that'll be the perfect place to put it. Now, these bathrooms, I think they're the bathrooms that they were first put in the house when I don't know, maybe in the 70s when they did it. I'm not quite sure, but they haven't changed since then. So it's a lot of work that needs to be done. This one, I can't say I mind a small bathroom. This is a small bathroom, it's fine, but it's just like, I don't know, a plastic shower insert. I need to change all this out. But what I'm gonna do, and I will show you this, is I'm gonna make this the bathroom. So it was a back bedroom. There's a fireplace in it. I love this fireplace. It's a little bit more simple, just like in the den downstairs. Right over here, again, you can see where the back staircase came up, where the floor changes. But I'm going to kind of divide this room. This part will be the bathroom. You will pass through that door that we just came in from there. And then on this side, where I'm going to put a wall right here, will be the laundry room and closet. And there's actually a really nice sized closet right here, but I'm going to make it a pass through back into the bedroom. So that is a longer term project because all this immediate renovation is going to be focused on the exterior and getting everything shored up, including a new roof, just everything I need to take care of the outside and protect it. And then I can focus on the inside. That means you're going to have to come back. Okay, so this is going to be probably the largest guest bedroom. I have big plans for it, so you just have to imagine a little bit because it's a mess right now. But I have this perfect chinoiserie wallpaper that I'm going to put up in here. So I've been calling it the Chinese room because of that. But it's going to be really pretty. I have these twin beds with canopies that are going in this room, but it's a mess right now. And then there's a shared bath, also a mess. That will need to be done. Let me turn on a light. As you see, I need to do a lot of work to all the bathrooms. And then it leads to this back guest bedroom. This is where I've been sleeping. It's the only bed that I've put up a bed downstairs, but it's just not ready to be slept in yet. Okay, so here's the other back guest bedroom. The one thing to point out about this is, well, one, I love the view from it because you kind of see the pool and all of that. But this armoire came with the house. I don't know quite how long it's been here, but they say that you can't move it down the stairs. So it's been here for generations as far as I've been told. So I like to say it's original to Cedar Grove, even though I don't know entirely if that's true, but that's kind of what was sold to me when I bought the place. Let me take you down. Oh, actually, I'm not going to take you downstairs. Let me show you the attic. It's the coolest space in the house that won't really be used, but it's just massive. It's really interesting. So come on, let me show you that. All right, so here's the attic. It's unbelievable. Just to give you a sense of the scale of this place, I mean, look how tall this is for an attic. It's massive. It's the whole width of the house. And it's all this original plank wood that was used to build the house. My big plans for this space is, of course, it's going to remain an attic, but I'm going to buy very creepy things at auction, like, an antique wheelchair or like a little creepy antique baby carriage, and I'm just going to leave them out here so it looks all spooky when guests come to see it. Let me show you this. Just ignore the fact that these are these cheap windows and they're filthy. I don't know when the last time they've been cleaned, but it has a great view down of the terrace garden. Now, reputedly, these gardens were laid out by André Michaud, who is this famous French botanist who did a lot of the gardens around Charleston. So it's this terrace garden down here on the south side of the house. I have big plans of what I'm going to do with it, but right now you just see the terraces. No old house would be complete without a ghost story. So this one apparently has one of local legend. The room I'm going to take you into is what they call the spirit room, affectionately. And of course, this is the room I'm now giving to my mom when she comes to stay. I've already warned her about that she's getting the ghost room, but come on in. Welcome to the spirit room. So here's the story. Apparently there was, I think there were a couple kids. And so again, if you actually know this story and I'm wrong, forgive me, but here's what I've been told. There were a couple kids and they were playing in this closet underneath these stairs, and this was in the 1800s, and they were playing with a gun and one of them accidentally got shot. Now, here's the interesting thing about this room. It has faux graining on these doors. Now, I don't know why they painted over that faux graining on this side, but if you open this up, you can see this faux graining still on the inside of the door. It's amazing, and it's on the inside of the doors here, and it's on the inside of that bathroom door. So it's a really cool feature. Now, back to the ghost part. Apparently, the ghost does not like when you close this door. So if you close the door, it gets him to act up, and I'm assuming it's a guy. I don't know why. It could be a girl, but for all I know. But I did spend the very first night in this room. I had an air mattress on the floor because I just wanted to see for myself, but I didn't close the door. So we don't know if it's true or not. I'll have to fill you in. This armoire came with the house, but it's not original to the house. A previous owner bought it and then left it, but I'm giving it away. It doesn't really fit the character of the house for me. So, but it's a great room. And of course, this light fixture is going away because I don't even think this room needs an overhead light fixture, and it gets in the way too much of a bed. But here's a queen size bed for my family. They will be very happy with it, I hope. Okay, the final room to really kind of show you is the kitchen. It's the newest room to the house because, as you can imagine, kitchens weren't really part of a house at that day. There's a separate kitchen house outside that I will show you. And that kitchen house is original, but here's the kitchen that was added on. They did a nice job with it. They enclosed part of the porch originally to make a kitchen, and I saw an old photo from the late 1800s, to the early 19th century, where they had built the kitchen out that way. But someone who came and actually turned this house into a B&B built a kitchen house that made it symmetrical with what was going on the other side of the house, where there's like a library. Was it like an estate office? But one of the great details they added was they wanted to mimic the curved ceiling that was in the hallway. So they added in here, and I just love this feature. Now, they had the wood exposed, but I didn't like the color of the wood. It looked too 90s to me, which is when I think they did it. And so I just had that painted. I'm in the process of having this whole kitchen painted now, but the kitchen's huge. I mean, you remember what my kitchen was like in Old Town. It was teeny. So I don't even know what I'm going to do with all this space. But it's nice to have a kitchen table. This wood stove, although I've been told is very important to keep this part of the house heated, I'm taking it out and putting the fireplace back into it because I would rather look at a fireplace than a wood stove. I had a wood stove in the house I grew up in, and I hated it. So I swore I would never have a wood stove. So it was supposed to be taken out today, but it's going to have to wait until next weekend when it gets taken out. In case you're wondering if I'm keeping this floor, I do think a black and white floor is classic, but this one's really just kind of a cheap, vinyl linoleum. So I'm going to switch it out, and I really kind of want to do what I did back in Old Town. I'm going to kind of make it like a brick floor. I think that would look more period appropriate for the house, although it's not quite historically accurate because this is raised and you wouldn't have a raised brick floor, but I'm going to do it anyway, so don't get mad at me. So you're actually now going to see one of my favorite features of this house, and no, it's not this screen door because look at it. It's literally falling apart, and right now I'm leaving it because it, to me, gives such character of this falling down screen door that is broken, but I will fix that later. But it's the porch. This porch is so great. It just says big old southern porch to me, and look how big it is. I, of course, am going to use it, and I have been using it as seating, and then I'm getting a dining table to go on this side. You can't have a porch in South Carolina without a joggling board, so I'm going to put a joggling board here on the rail. And then really I want to point out, I don't know if you noticed this from the portico, but this railing is so distinctive. It's really kind of a signature look here for Cedar Grove. And I found wicker furniture at auction right after I bought this house where it really kind of mimics the same detailing from the railing. So I'm like, it was just meant to be. So that's my Cedar Grove wicker furniture that I have bought. There were some fans here, but I added in 3 to really kind of give it, luckily we don't need to turn them on right now. And the other great feature about this porch is the room behind me. It's the original estate office to Cedar Grove. It's now a library. You can barely walk in it, so I'll open the door and just kind of show you. But it is, it's really cool. It's also where I have all the other boxes that are in the dining room stored in the place. As you can see, you can barely walk in it, but it's an amazing room. And you can tell right there, I don't know if you can see it, that there originally, where there's a cutout in the wall, that used to be a door, and that would be the way people would walk up into this office, so they wouldn't have them come up on the porch. But it's a cool space. I look forward to actually making it pretty for you guys to see it in the future. So this is the back of Cedar Grove, and quite honestly, I like the back more than the front. I mean, I love the front of the house, don't get me wrong. It's just, it says Southern to me, but I just love this porch. And that's the estate office that I was just showing you. That's the kitchen edition where they really kind of mimicked it, and I think they did such a nice job with that in the detailing. But the other great thing about the back of the house is you can really kind of tell what it was historically, because if you swing around, you can see the original kitchen house that's still standing. Now, I have to do some restoration work on that to really kind of stabilize and preserve it, but it's an amazing little piece of architectural history. It has this massive stone fireplace in it. And if you go to the Smithsonian, the African American Museum, there is a table on permanent display there that came out of this kitchen house, and that is now there at the Smithsonian, including right beside it, they have a piece of pottery. Edgefield is known for a couple things. One, it's known for pottery. 2, it's known for peaches. But there is a famous potter, David Drake, who was an enslaved person, and he made these great stoneware jugs. And what he would do, his signature, well, 1, he would sign the pottery, but 2, he would write kind of little lines of poetry that we'd put on there. And these pieces of pottery can go for millions of dollars. The Smithsonian African American Museum has one. They display it, I think they might display it on the kitchen table. The Philadelphia Museum of Art displays another one, and the one that they display came out of the hallway of Cedar Grove. So it's a shame it's not still in the hallway now, but I don't think I can afford a piece of David Drake pottery at this point, but maybe in the future I can, fingers crossed. All right, so this is the inside of the actual kitchen house, and look at this massive fireplace. It's huge. This is exactly where that table that's in the Smithsonian would have been, right here in the center of this room. But this fireplace is two-sided. If you go to the other side, they would have had another part. I don't know if it's for 2 different kinds of cooking or if it would have been, I don't know. Again, I'm not a historian, but I'm dying to do the research on it to find out. Or if one part was more laundry and the other part was there. But this one also has a loft to it, which I find fascinating. So I'm sure there would have been a ladder that kind of gets up to that loft aspect. As I say, I'm not making this anything. I'm literally just going to shore it up, fix the clapper that needs to do, make sure that it doesn't leak and that the roof is good, and just restore it back to the way it was, and then keep it, preserve it for the rest of time. Okay, finally, let me show you the one thing that I did not expect to be part of this. I didn't plan for it, but it's here and I love it, and that is this house has a pool. I've never had a pool before in my life, and that's what these boxes are, because when you have a pool, you have to have pool furniture. And I thought, oh, I've got to buy some stuff. So I just bought some stuff that was delivered this week. I was unpacking last night when I got into town. So let's come see it. By the way, pool furniture is the most expensive thing I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, I would go online and, of course, what I liked, I would be like, what's the price of that chair? And it'd be $10,000. And so, of course, I would not buy a $10,000 pool chair. But, you know, I found something that works for me. I'm rebuilding this entire fence to mimic the railing that we just saw on the porch. So, to make it kind of a Cedar Grove. When I first closed on this house, this pool was a green pond. I mean, it was just full of algae and gook. There were frogs in it. It was gross. So it's taken a few weeks to get it this pretty pool color, but it's still not quite ready for me to swim in. I have to do a little bit more work, and part of that was I converted the system. It was a chlorine-based filter, and just yesterday I had the pool company come and convert it to a saltwater-based system. So it should be starting to clear up and get swim ready for me in about a week. So if I had designed this pool myself, I wouldn't have necessarily designed a pool at the angle it is, nor would I have picked out this shape, but I like it. But here's what I think is brilliant about the people that put in this pool. Come over here and I'll show you. I actually have to jump in this pool today because I bought one of those Polaris cleaning robot things, and the battery ran out and it's sunk right there in the middle, so I've got to dive in and scoop it out. It's this view. They sided this pool in such a way that you have the most amazing view of the house, and it's really one of my favorite features about it. The other great thing is it comes with the pool house, and that pool house has its own little bathroom. It has its washer and dryer. It has a little kitchenette, so it'll be a nice guest house. I'm going to change the look of it a little bit. It's got this arbor off the back of it, but it drives me a little crazy from an OCD standpoint that it doesn't go the whole full length of the pool house. So I'm going to tear that down and have a porch made for it. And then the top railings of that porch will again mimic that Cedar Grove railing that I fell in love with. But there you go. All right, thanks for coming by. This was our first tour. I'm so glad you could see kind of the before of everything, and you're going to see the during, and I can't wait, I really can't wait for you to see the end result of how I'm going to make this place look spectacular in the end. But I think it's a very special place. I hope you loved it too. I can't wait to have you back.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.